Well, welcome to Longing, Waiting, Believing for January the 1st, 2021. So a very happy and a blessed new year. Let's hope that 2021 can do somewhat better than 2020. Today we have thinking of Jesus, his naming and his circumcision, and the children of Abraham. From Luke's Gospel, chapter 2, verses 15 to 21, we read, "When the angels had left them and gone into heaven, the shepherds said to one another, 'Let us go now to Bethlehem and see this thing that has taken place, which the Lord has made known to us.' So they went with haste and found Mary and Joseph and the child lying in the manger. When they saw this, they made known what had been told them about this child. And all who heard it were amazed at what the shepherds told them. But Mary treasured all these words and pondered them in her heart. The shepherds returned, glorifying and praising God for all that they had heard and seen, as it had been told them. After 8 days had passed, it was time to circumcise the child, and he was called Jesus, the name given by the angel before he was conceived in the womb." So our passage today picks up the nativity story at the point where the shepherds dash off to see what the angels have been talking about. They do indeed see Mary and Joseph and the babe lying in a manger. It is surely no accident that the first visitors to the one who is to be the shepherd of Israel are themselves shepherds. Jesus inherits the throne of his father David, who was taken from the flocks to become king. How right it is then that the prophesied shepherd king should be born in David's city, Bethlehem. It is also not surprising that the shepherds cannot keep to themselves what they heard, and that their story causes amazement when they tell it. As they return to their flocks, their joy is uncontainable, so they go on their way glorifying and praising God. Mary, however, quietly ponders these things in her heart. She no doubt reflects on how it all fits in with the words of her own angelic visitor, and surely she will go on reflecting on the meaning of it throughout her life. I hope and pray that as we have travelled once again in our imagination to Bethlehem, that we have also been captivated afresh by what God has done in and through this child, his only begotten Son, the Lord of sea and sky, cradled in his mother's arms. Do we contain our joy, or do we, like the shepherds, go on our way, glorifying and praising God? Surely there's a lesson here for the mission in today's world. Where is God's Spirit at work? Where is Christ being formed in our own communities? What can we do with that which the Lord had made known to us? Will we join in the great adventure of foretelling? Can we, like Mary, take time to ponder in our hearts and discover more and more of the depth and riches of God's dealing with us humans, perhaps through the discipline of contemplative prayer? Today we celebrate the naming and circumcision of Jesus. Mary and Joseph were devout Jews who, like Mary's cousin Elizabeth and her husband Zechariah, had been waiting for God to fulfill his promises. Mary and Joseph therefore did all that was required according to the Jewish law. The baby was named Jesus, meaning Yahweh saves, just as the angel Gabriel had said he should be named before he was conceived. And as was the case from the time of Abraham, the boy was circumcised on the 8th day. Jesus is thus properly initiated into the covenant people of God. From childhood to adulthood, he will be immersed in Judaism of his day. He will debate in the temple with the teachers of the law when only 12 years old. He'll begin his ministry in the synagogue in Nazareth, reading probably the lectionary lesson of the day and declaring that the prophecy is fulfilled in him. He'll be called Rabbi, like the other Jewish teachers. Jesus, though, is not just another true Israelite, or even just another first-century rabbi. He is the one who fulfills the whole destiny of the Jewish people, longed for, waited for and believed in, through all the trials and tribulations of over 2,000 years of history. He is the one born into devout and humble family. He will become the suffering servant who is wounded for our transgressions and crushed for our iniquities. He will bring his people finally out of exile. He will be the one who judges the world, yet by whose death the sins of the world will be expiated. All that we've been reading over the past few weeks during Advent has been leading up to this birth of this child. Although a Jew, Jesus brings to a community to which there is no longer Jew or Greek. There is no longer slave nor free. There's no longer male nor female. God's purpose for the world was channeled through this particular people over a millennia and focused finally onto this one descendant of Abraham. But the salvation that Jesus brings is for all people. We are all now children of Abraham. We become members of this new community not by male circumcision, but by baptism. Whether we're male or female doesn't matter. It is marvellous to reflect on how this community has gone global, from making its first inroads into the known world of that day, mostly incorporated in the Roman Empire, to this spread into the worldwide body of over 2 billion people that it is today. Let us ponder the depths and riches of God's dealing with us and go on our way, glorifying and praising God. For reflection, if you can find a time when you can just be on your own and either sit or kneel in quiet, allowing your body to become still. Let go of the busyness of the day and breathe slowly and deeply. Become aware of the sounds around you and beyond them, of the presence of God in whom we live and move and have our being. And in the silence, open your heart to God and ponder the depths of his love for his world. Amen.